Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. When you're tuned in, you're with Lady Business and Give It to the People Radio, where you're going to get enlightened, enhanced, empowered, and enriched. Make sure that you always tune in to Give It to the People Radio. Hi, everybody. Good evening and welcome. I just want you to know today's a great day, all right? And we have a great guest that is going to be on this evening. I'm Chisa Penix Brown, and tonight we are doing Give It to the People live, okay? So this is our live stream where we bring on great businesses, and with those great businesses that we bring on, we want to make sure we highlight people that are doing really awesome things with their business, their life, the community. And Shamina, hi. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I am wonderful. I'm so glad to have you on because, I was just doing the intro, telling everybody that we love to have great people on. We love to have people that are interesting, people that have a story to tell, because oftentimes our stories don't really necessarily get told, right? Unless we're super famous. So I just always look at when I pay attention to people's social media and I pay attention to what they're doing and I love it. I'm just like, okay, we got to talk to that person. We need to be friends. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's a friend in my head. And so I've been looking at your social media for a long time, and you are uplifting, you are empowering, and you always take great pictures. So that turns me on all the way, right? If I see some good pictures too, good face, like that's all I need, and then I'm totally, completely in there. So what I want you to do is I want you to just give the people a little background story about you and about how you got started.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. Again, my name is Shamina Williams. I actually am a poet at heart. I just published my first book, Baby, a year ago. Well, it'll be a year ago next month.
Mm-hmm.
And my birth out of my traumas is affiliated with sexual assault and domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to publish my poetry.
Mm-hmm.
But God had other things in store. Along the way, I ended up being a volunteer. Oops. Now,
it's okay.
I said I got my assistants over here trying to get me right, but
get it together. You good?
But yeah, so fast forward some years later, I ended up volunteering at an organization called Interact. I had an idea to them, which when writing the article for Give It to the People, I realized, well, dang, that was a big thing. Like I actually, pitched an idea to an organization, but they ended up pairing me with their sexual assault group. And I had no idea how it was going to make me feel, but I learned then that part of my work was not only to write poetry and share my story, but it's also to be a soul connector is what I like to call myself, to really get one-on-one with a person to help them fully explore the full range of their emotions. Most of them don't,
Yeah.
We compartmentalize, we go through our day, but whether something makes us angry, super sad, or super happy, we don't revel or stay in those moments and truly explore them. People who are dealing with trauma, oftentimes we stuff it. We don't have the capacity, the time to really dig deep into our emotions. And that's what I do.
And that's a real important factor because through my growth, I can say that I am, how do I want to say this? Okay, so there's a whole thing. I don't know if anybody watches Star Wars, but in Star Wars, you have the Jedis, which are the good guys, and then the bad guys are the Siths. So I've, just grown to consider myself more of a Sith. Not that I'm a bad guy, but they're just on the dark side of the Force, right? Like they believe that if you can block out some of those emotions, that things will be better. And, a lot of times they're actually operating out of anger, which is kind of weird now that I'm saying it out loud, right? but they take in all of that energy, and then that's kind of what makes them a little bit stronger, but they're not really expressing themselves per se. So, when I look at it, this kind of like the reason I say a Sith is because it's like it either is or it isn't. And so that's where the Siths are. And I've realized, and I just said this today, so this is going to be a little story real quick, but I just realized, I said to my husband, and I'm going to pose this question to you. What if, and I think this may be it's not a perfect thing, but what if you could only have 7 people every year that you really care about? Now, the reason I'm saying that is because all of that emotional attachment to everybody is why life is so crazy and it's so messed up, right? So like when people pass, when people get sick, it's because of the emotional attachment that you have to them. And so I was like, could you pick 7 people each year and just say, I'm only going to really care about these 7. Not that you don't care about the other ones, but that these people are the ones that you're emotionally attached to, so that this way you don't have as much of that stress, right? And I know that it's a thing that is not going to happen. But what do you think? Could you pick 7 people to just be attached to for 1 year? And you can keep the same people each year if you want to, or you could change them out, but 7 people, because I think then this way you wouldn't have as much of that emotional attachment to everybody else. What do you think about that? And I know that's a lot, but I just wanted to pose that to you.
She said that's a loaded question. First, I'm just gonna beg to differ a bit. I don't think we're emotionally attached to everybody that we have in our circles, right? Attachment in and of itself is a totally separate issue from being emotional attached. My point of view. But if I don't know if I could only choose 7 people. I have a really tight circle, and it is 7 individuals. And when I say tight, I mean tight. So that'd be super hard for me, especially because I have 2 children. So there are 2 spots.
So you got 2, okay. And then you only got 5 spots left.
So definitely with my mother would be 1, but oh God, 7 people each year. I think that I could filter them out each year. I guess. Okay. 7, I think I could. But emotional attachment and just attachment in and of itself would be some great topics to explore a little deeper.
Oh no, I want to get into that. I definitely want to get into that, because if you really want to be honest, you don't have the happy-go-lucky story. When you talk about, being violated, that's just the easiest word for me to use. When you talk about being violated and being violated sexually, it's not like, okay, we can just throw rainbows and stars and sparkles all over. We just can't do that. But I think that in you being able to help people, and the stuff that I see you post is very intuitive into really trying to get a person to not get over, but just get through some things, And so when I look at your posts on a daily basis, I'm just like, oh, that was a good one. And I know everything doesn't apply to me, but I take in the things that do apply to me, and I pay attention to the things that don't necessarily apply to me, because that could be great information that I could share with somebody else. So when I see people that I know that have gone through anything like similar to yours, I'll direct them to your page, because you are outwardly helping people on a daily basis. And that's just what I see it, from that perspective. So the emotional part of things, the question would be, how do you get through those emotions? What would you say to somebody?
We're always getting through, right? And you may not react emotionally to everything, but it's about being in charge and owning your emotions. So the biggest thing is not to ignore whatever comes up. Like I said, I don't care if that's anger. I don't care if it's, explore it, touch it, ask it why it's here. You know what I mean? You want to be mad? Be mad. Everybody gets mad. That people kill me when they, don't get upset about it. And why not? It's a natural response to certain situations, right? It is. But what we do is, because of society, we tend to temper everything that we do. We temper our personalities. We temper our voices. I am loud, just loud. I come from a loud family, right? So
there you go.
it's like, why are you talking so loud? Why are you talking? And oftentimes I don't recognize my octave. We could be or whatever, something hits me. If I'm passionate about it, if I'm laughing about it, I just get loud. But it's like, I'm loud.
But we can feel that though. And you know what, that happens to me all the time. My husband's like, would you turn your volume down sometimes? And you have to be like, I wasn't even talking that loud, but you probably really were. And you're just like, oh, okay, you know what? Let me use my inside voice, my inside voice. But if people, so passion definitely plays a part in your response to things. But when you talk about the getting through, you need to express those emotions, is basically what you're saying.
You have to. Like I said, the more you stuff, the more you know what, I'm not going to respond this way. I'm not going to respond that way. Or you compartmentalize. I'll deal with that next week, tomorrow, whatever. But then something triggers you and you're exploding. Why? Because you haven't dealt with all of everything you've been stuffing for that week, that month, those 3 months, bubbling over. So I want to feel it all deeply, as often as I can. And then there are moments where you have to step back for your mental clarity. You know, there was a time I probably was emotionally charged. I would react. I was thinking, and I was just emotionally led until I learned to manage my emotions. And in managing them, I explore them fully. And most of that is through writing.
Okay. And you know, that's exactly where I was going to transition to, because with you being able to, did you start the writing portion first and then be into the position of to perform? Or did you just say, I just got to get it out? Like, what was your thing? And I mean, this is what I want people to understand. When we're talking about this and you're talking about, you know, I just want to talk about trauma in general, because even though you have one type of trauma, somebody may have a different type of trauma. So with that, us being able to get that out, I think is important for people to understand that you need an outlet. Like, that's the point of getting it out. So if a person is saying, okay, well, writing, what made writing the thing for you?
I don't know. I say, I didn't know I was a poet. I didn't know I was writing poetry. I just knew I started reading and I started writing. And it literally saved my life. A place where I felt that I couldn't tell anyone about the things that I was experiencing. Writing was my best friend. It's where I'm my most vulnerable. That's probably taken me so long to share a lot of my pieces, because they're very intimate. They're very personal. More than half of them are about me. There are pieces that are not, but the majority of what I write is about my experience. So it just came to me. It was a God-given gift.
There you go.
And, you know, traditional verse and rhyme. I have my own meter, if you would say. But I think God gave me writing to help me cope.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay. Now, if with you working with the organization you were working with and with other victims of trauma, are there some other things that you would say that people should possibly use to cope if writing is not their thing?
Whatever. I mean, therapy. I don't want people to think, because I use creative writing in my writing sessions as therapy, in a sense. And I've worked with people who aren't writers, you know, but it really is a practice in clarifying your thoughts, your emotions, sharing with yourself, you know, all these little conversations that we have with ourselves. You're just putting it on paper. So even if you're not writing, walking could be your out. Going to the gym could be your out. Curling up with your favorite book or your favorite movie could be your way of coping. So it may not be it for everybody, but even those that I've worked with who have never written anything, who are not poets, not writers, don't journal, they come out with a ton of ahas. And I always walk away with an aha.
Do you find that it's something, you know how they say write the vision and make it plain, that it's something that's an extra power that's in that, and you being able to articulate like, this is what I'm feeling? Because this is just what, from my experience, everybody that I know, and I'm talking about people that I know personally, and I'm trying to think, is there anybody that's outside of that? But I don't. No, everybody that I know that has had a sexual trauma has had to write about it. Everybody that I know. And it's their way to express it. And I would say everybody except, well, no, even her. Yeah. You know what? I mean, I'm sitting up here, I'm trying to say, is there an exception? It's the writing about it, but it is also finding people that they can talk to about it. And I just feel like, is there some kind of divine, power that is in actually writing out what you feel like? Does it become more real for you to be able to express it when you write?
I think that experience is real before you even write about it. But the power in writing about it is that you're either empowering yourself, you're either accepting a certain part of it, and you're seeing it. It's with your own words. It's not anybody else's. It's not coming from your therapist. It's not coming from your girlfriends, your homeboy. It's coming from within. Your most innermost thoughts, and I think that's where the power is. You get to fully express every thought you have in that moment. Whether it's working on forgiveness, acknowledging finally that I did nothing wrong. Whatever comes out in that writing, but I think the power is in the person writing for themselves, getting it out for themselves, by themselves. I find it very empowering.
Now, and I don't know if you know this, but I would say that people do it for themselves, like you say, but do you find, or have you found, either one of these, that the people you work with or yourself have had any negativity because of actually expressing your experience?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I've worked with people who, some have had no history of sexual violence or abuse and no history of domestic abuse. But everybody has some form of trauma that they've survived, I would say. So sometimes writing can be triggering. It can make you sad. Again, I always go to anger because a lot of times we get mad about the things that was done to us that we have no control over, right? So we'll bring up certain emotions for some people. One of my clients, my curriculum is actually 6 weeks long. And one client of mine, we were on some great work for weeks, and then I was like, at any moment, if you need to step away from this, we can. So we took a hiatus, because healing is not always pretty. And when you're digging deeper, the more you learn about yourself, the more tools you put in your toolbox. There are moments where you got to say, you know what, let me breathe and let me go for a walk, and maybe I won't journal for a few days. Or again, breathe and just be out in the world and not focus on working through my trauma in this very moment. Not to forget it, down for a bit. So most certainly triggered, all sorts of emotions.
Yeah. Now, one thing, I was watching a thing with Brene Brown, right? One of my friends has been suggesting Brene Brown. So I sat down today and I felt like, in preparation for this, I didn't even get through the whole thing because she definitely triggered me with one part that she was talking about. But if you guys don't know about Brene Brown, check out Brene Brown. But I'm watching her, and one of the things that she was talking about, she was telling us, yeah, go ahead.
Which one did you watch? The Shame versus Guilt? Which Talk?
I think that was it, because it's on the Netflix. So I was clicking through Netflix because I was doing some work, right? So I'm like, okay, well, and then it just was there. So I said, well, let me click. My friend's been telling me about checking out Brene Brown. She told me to buy the book. And she was like, you are very much like that. She was like, she cuss, you would like her too. And I was like, she cuss? Oh yeah. Let me get into that then. That's my jam right there. And she was like, well, she's just really real. So I clicked and I'm watching it. And she was talking about that vulnerability and courage are the same thing. because it takes courage to be vulnerable, to be able to let a person know about whatever it is that you have that's going on. And I'm one of those people where I internalize things because I need to see how whatever that thing is makes me feel, right? And I was just thinking to myself, like, you don't think of things in that manner, but it then correlates to something else that I've been watching. So I've been watching, we started watching Billions because that's my late night thing. So Billions is a show that's talking about a billionaire. And then you get to see all of these people that his life touches because they work for him or they're trying to put him in jail. Either one of the two things. But there is this guy on there, and his name is Ben Kim. And Ben Kim is so smart, okay? But Ben Kim is so shy, he's so introverted, and he's not confident. And the whole time, Ben Kim is driving me crazy. And it's because confidence is an important thing for me. And I think that, when you look at men, you want them to be confident or just people in general. But him not being confident was driving me crazy till you get to this scene. And in the scene, she's telling him, like, look, you're gonna have to get confident in this. Do something embarrassing. Do something that's gonna make you so uncomfortable so that you can get it out. And then you will see that the most embarrassing thing that you could do is going to be able to open you up. So he does something totally, completely embarrassing, totally, completely embarrassing, blows a whole account and everything, that was worth millions of dollars. But then he's able to pitch his idea to them. And that vulnerability of him being able to, he started dancing to Nelly Hot in Here and started taking off all his clothes in the elevator. It was so funny. And I'm just like, but you know what? When he started doing that, you could see how scared he was. And I'm like, oh, shoot, what has Ben about to do? When he starts playing and you hear Hot in Here, I started getting so hyped up for Ben because I was like, I know he's not getting ready to do this, Nelly. I know he's not. And he did it. And it was like that moment made me feel so good for him. A fictitious character, but it was the moment where the person decided that they were going to be confident and courageous in that, but he had to also be vulnerable. And I think that whenever you go through a trauma, people have to realize it is so courageous to tell somebody the first time, but then to keep doing it over and over and own it and understand that, you didn't want to go through it, but there's something that then hopefully blossoms in a good direction for you. So what would you say? Okay, we had the trauma. What good has been able to come from you going through that trauma, and then now being so vulnerable and so courageous?
Ask your question again.
What good has come from you being so vulnerable and courageous after the trauma has happened? You're still here. You're still standing. You out here writing articles. You putting books out, right? But there has to be something that has been a good in your life since that happened.
There's been a lot of goods. When I finally came to a place that I was able to share, first and foremost, it changed my relationships. I found that I had friends who had gone through similar things or certain things.
Okay.
Again, I'm able to connect and empower and help other people who've gone through similar things. So, and the good is still unfolding. I have some bigger visions than, just my writing classes and my books, from, housing, affordable for people, and, ride share programs for single parents who just need help getting their kids from A to B.
Wow.
I ended up dealing with so many different things, and the way I dealt in my intimate relationships, my traumas would show up in different areas, and I'm still a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
Continuing therapy. Writing is still my first practice for therapy. But the good is still unfolding. But the biggest is that even for myself, I wasn't always confident.
Okay.
I was very insecure. and I'm very shy, believe it or not. Like, I don't like people. I'm the quiet person until you get, but then you get to know me. You're like, that girl crazy as hell. But I don't come off like that, probably because of the things that I had gone. Yeah. But yeah, the good is still unfolding. But I think the biggest is that I'm able to share without feeling down, without feeling embarrassed, without I just got my confidence back, and I'm walking in light and purpose, and it feels great. And I a lot of good is coming from that.
And that to me is amazing because, one of the things that I like to help people with is definitely confidence, because I think there are so many things that people can do. And for some reason, they tend to talk themselves out of doing the things, whatever those things are. And I am here to tell you that you can do it. Like, that's it. When I'm teaching classes, when it's a workshop, when it's somebody just put shywear. I guess that might be one of your friends. Right? But because I feel like that's the enemy of your creativity. That's the enemy of your next idea. That's the enemy of you sharing something, is that you don't have that confidence. And just like Ben Kim, often there is so much greatness that's inside of it, but it's like people need a little push in order to be able to be confident. And unfortunately, trauma is definitely one of those things. But let me ask you about, this is like one of my top words that I've been expressing just in general, because I've realized a lot of things over the last year, but anxiety. Okay. Anxiety is something that you've written about, something that I see that you've posted about before. And there's good anxiety, there's bad anxiety, but anxiety, I was just expressing, that if I don't have some level of anxiety, I personally cannot perform at the levels that I perform at. It's just, and it's self-induced. So you just have to work on how you place anxiety in your life to motivate you, or is it going to be something that's going to deteriorate you, right? So how do you deal with anxiety? Because a lot of times with trauma, people then have a heightened sense of anxiety with maybe going places, doing things, seeing people. So how do you deal with that, or how do you help people deal with anxiety?
I talk about a lot of grounding techniques. Especially the last few years. I didn't even know I really suffered with anxiety until a few years ago, but all of us suffer with some level of anxiety. Yeah. Like, I probably wouldn't have never published my book if it wasn't for my friends, and but it took me forever to do it. But it's a purpose and time for everything. But for me, again, breathing techniques, grounding techniques. I do this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, girl. That's a wonderful thing.
So, but breathing for me, and then I adopted yoga a few years ago. It was a practice that I thought I don't know if I want to do yoga, whatever. However, ended up doing the part, fell in love with it. I do morning throughout my day. But I've been able to calm myself. But Chisa, when I tell you, it's taken a lot of work, because I was someone, again, who was emotionally charged. If you say something disrespectful, I was ready to on site, period. Yeah. If you looked at me funny, and now I don't pay nobody any attention, and I still struggle with anxiety. I was anxious before this interview, but like you said, are you going to let the anxiousness deter you from your greatness, or are you going to allow it to propel you? I'm not a spoken word artist, but I do, or try to occasionally go to an open mic. But when I say, my heart flutters and palpitates, and but again, you push yourself to do the things that you're most afraid of, and most often on the other side of that, it's a world that you never imagined. So, I just breathe. I practice the techniques that have been working for me, and I just through. Again, I'm even with being on Instagram, everything I post, I scrutinize. I'm like, oh my God, what does this look like? I ask people, should I post this? How does this? And now I'm just like, fuck it, go for what you know. And, if they don't like it, they don't like it, because everybody got their haters, and they it's just do what you're going to do. Life is too COVID. If it ain't cost anything else, it showed us to go for broke because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So now I'm just going to do me and do the best that I can do, continuously growing, learning, and helping other people.
But let me tell you something. Where is my tambourine? Okay, my tambourine is on the other side of the room. I don't know. I guess because I left my tambourine on the other side of the room, but just know I'm shaking the tambourine for you right now because the post I put out this morning, sometimes I think you just feel some kind of way. Like you can't really describe it. I like to call it pression. I don't think it's depression, but it's just, I'm not feeling this right now. And you have no reason why you're not feeling something, but you just know when an energy is off, right? And specifically, you know when the energy is off with yourself. So when I got up this morning, I just was thinking to myself, like, I am so sick of just copycats. I just am. So when you just said, put out what you feel like you want to put out, that's what I do because I have people that'll send me stuff. And I love some things, and I'm just like, okay, but let me do my version of that. I like the way that this is, but I'm going to do my own little version. And I will, if you want to use scrutinize, that's a great phrase, scrutinize how things are done and what's the motivation behind them. And what I've been seeing on social media, specifically, let's say Instagram or even TikTok or any of those things, I'm sick and tired of everybody doing the same thing over and over again. I'm tired of music sounding the damn same. I'm tired of people looking the damn same. Like, I'm just thinking, what happened to our individuality? What happened to us being unique? And like I said, if you saw that post, I'm from New York. I'm from Mount Vernon. So when I grew up, individuality was a strength. You know what I'm saying? Like I specifically sought out. I used to go on the East Bay catalog and order Sauconys when wasn't nobody wearing Sauconys because I was like, I can't wear everything. I'm not about to wear these Reeboks. And then in 2 weeks, y'all toes is messed up on the front of the Reeboks. Okay. It will always be one of the, I think I'm cute chick with some Reeboks. And then them damn toes was messed up in 2 weeks with toe prints. I'm not getting no Reeboks with toe prints, right? So
I'm not from Philly. I'm from Chester, but that's a Chester thing. We had the Reeboks, Princess.
Okay, but you have to put the sock in the front so that this way them toe prints don't be in there. Okay, all right. You know what I'm talking about. 2 weeks later, them toe prints was all, and I'm just like, I'm not about to spend money. Even when I was young, it wasn't even my money on the toe prints, right? So, but everybody had them. And I was just like, I can't do that. So social media, I think causes anxiety for a lot of people. I think that when people are looking at certain things, if they're trying to aspire to be like something, or they may gravitate to certain things because it's comfortable, and they follow people. So this is where I'm going with this. When we talk about how you're saying I'm being unique in the social media and I post what I want to post is what you said. Is there ever a pull to try to go with the trends because this is what's happening and this is what's going to grow the account and everything that everybody says? And I'm just like, I never really feel that pull to do that. The idea of it, I can see it, but just doing exactly what everybody else is doing just for the sake of doing it bothers my nerves.
Right. I can say that, for one, Instagram drives me crazy. I'm looking for a social media person because I hate it. I was a passive user of Instagram. Mm-hmm. Start a business and wanting to get my followers up or whatever. You're looking at, they changed the algorithm. Am I being shadowed? And it was literally driving me crazy up until like December, January of this year. And I'm like, I'll get the advice from the gurus or, but again, I had to remind myself, your tribe will come. You've not even been in business for a year. So the people and then I'm still getting business. And like I said, what's near and dear to my heart right now are the writing classes. So people are still somehow seeing your content. People are still emailing you about a class. So you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So don't get caught up in the hype. And not only that, but I'm a big Pinterest person, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was also passive there. But once I started my business and changed my profile, literally from last May up until I have like 1,000 followers. When I
Mm-hmm.
out with like 100.
Mm-hmm.
My content there, and what I'm learning is that people are gravitating to on Pinterest. They're not gravitating towards
On Instagram.
on
Yep.
Instagram. You know,
Thank you for saying that.
I'm not even using Facebook like I should. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
done live there, and I'm posting on Facebook, but it's a lot because I still work a 9 to 5. Also,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
but now it's not about how many followers I have, how many likes I get, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Is I'm reaching somebody. Whenever I get a DM, thank you for that, or whenever somebody emails me about,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So at the end
Come
of the
on.
day, that's the algorithm for real, for real.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Find yourself of why you're doing what you're doing. Because for me,
Yes.
it's about the likes or the follows. It's about making an impact and reaching
Mm-hmm.
people who have had similar experiences, just to let them know you can survive, you will survive, you can thrive after you're hurt. That's
Yeah. And I think, I follow a lot of things with well, I like to call it mental wealth, but mental health. I follow a lot of different things where they give techniques. I follow that type of stuff because I feel like it's empowering. And that's one of the reasons why I follow your account. I think when I first came and saw your account, it was the whole poetry thing. And then I saw that it was deeper. It wasn't even that. And I don't even know if you follow me first, if I followed you first, but along the line, I was just like, I like this. And I kept looking. But this is what I want people to understand. If you feel that anxiety, if you feel like something or someone is too much, because I'm a person where I might be too much for too many people. You know what I'm saying? I'm real extra with it. All right. So if you come on my page, it's going to be all kinds of extra shit. I'm just going to tell you now.
I don't remember. I met you at the Superwoman's brunch some years ago. That's where we first met.
In Raleigh.
In Raleigh, I think
That's what it was.
with Jada.
I could tell you that was 5 years ago because my book is 5 years, and that was the first launch of my book. Stop it. Okay. Yes.
Yes. And I fell in love with you then. Started following. It was a great experience, but I love you. I love the color. I had to put on color. I even got on some green bag on just you. I'm getting up here with Chisa. Like,
yes.
Color into the thing.
Yes. But you know what? Okay, thank you. Because now that triggers me to say, like, I can know exactly where it was 5 years ago. And that restaurant is closed now, girl. That was one of my favorite restaurants. Oh. It's closed now. Don't worry about that. All right. But we had a good time while we were there.
Yes.
But there was a comment on here, and that's exactly what I was getting to. So when we talk about what we do to showcase our businesses and to get things, let's just say, off our chest, but also to just make sure that we can get some sales and get some interest in what we're doing, I think that you can follow the idea. So for instance, when I started doing the reels, because I was resistant, I was like, everybody's doing reels. You know what I'm saying? When I started doing the reels, all of a sudden the numbers just jumped up. Bloop, 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 bloop. And I'm like, okay, well, let me do another one. And then the numbers come out. And I'm just like, okay, nobody is saying we have astronomical growth, but it was something about doing it. But I did not want to do it at first because everybody was doing the same thing. So when a pop song comes out and everybody's doing the same song, okay, I have to find my own way to do things and to relay my message. And one thing that I kind of am in between, and I'm probably never going to do it. I like it when people have these super curated pages. I do. I like it. I love to see their great pictures. But I feel like, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, that is it a little self-serving that is just you all the time? And maybe it's just because of what I do, because I teach. So I feel like I have to let you know what I'm teaching about. It can't just be the outfit that I have on. It can't just be a cute face and a location or a food or whatever. It also needs to be some type of education. And so you do a great job of blending lifestyle pictures with also helpful information. And it just kind of goes back and forth. And those Nikes that you had on, the white ones with the blue, I was like, let me get them things, girl. Listen, I'm telling you, I was like, I looked at them Nikes the other day and I was like, I'm gonna ask about them things because them Nikes was cute, girl. You know,
I found them Nikes 2, 3 summers ago in Marshalls.
they were cute. Come on, Marshall, don't you love Marshalls? You
Yeah.
will get a good little something at Marshall's every now and then, though. You know, I mean, but so I don't. It's not that I try to be curated. I try to give people what I want of me, and I think that if you've been through any type of trauma, if you've been through any type of anxiety, you may feel like, am I doing too much? You may feel like, well, should I put this out? But, you know, the moral of the story is if you don't share it, if you don't put it out, nobody's going to see it. Right. And I'm a hoarder. I'm going to be honest with you. Right. You know how many pictures and videos that I have that have never even gone out? So I like to hold on to things and then put content out when I feel like it's appropriate or when the mood hits me. And I think that when we're trying to do that educational piece, you have to float that line of, let me give you a little bit of myself, but then let me also kind of tell you, like, this is what you need to know. But like you said, it draws in your crowd, right? So I want you to give them a little insight about your book and tell them where they can find your book.
Okay. So my book is In the Midst of Me. It's my first book of poetry that spans well over 15 years. I've grown tremendously as a writer since writing this, but I had to get it out. It was my first book baby, and you can find it on Amazon. I'm actually re-releasing it. I wasn't happy with the interior. Okay. And I should have that out by next week, but you can get it at Amazon. But soon, hopefully, Amazon won't be the only distributor. Or
that's right.
Copy directly from me.
Yes. Okay. Now, the other thing is your article that you wrote. So she is one of the contributors for the Give It to the People magazine. And I told people, if you were on last week's Give It to the People Live, I reached out to people that I felt like needed that voice because of what they were doing, because of the content that they put out. So were you like, should I do this? Or did you say, like, I wanted to know, like, that feeling, like when I asked you, was there like a keynote stroke hesitation? Or were you like, girl, yeah, let me write it? What were you thinking then?
It was a hesitation. And it's always a hesitation because I'll forever be concerned about how much I share and what I want to share and how I want to deliver it. But after giving it more thought, it was important for me to share a little bit more in this article than I've even shared on my platforms. Mm-hmm. But it was a good hesitation. Again, into writing something or writing in a way that I hadn't in a while. Mm-hmm. But it was good. I didn't even know in what direction I was going to go with it, but I was happy with it. I was happy.
Okay. And it was a good article. Like, you know, I had to read everything and go through everybody's stuff, make sure we had all of the grammar. And some people, they wrote like they talk or they put, you know, slang and everything in there. So, of course, you know, the spell check is like, what? And you just got to go through and just make sure everything's good. But I think that it gave us a good sense of hope. You know what I mean? Like a good sense of you can go through something, but there's hope on the other side. Like that to me was a good thing. So if anybody wants to get the magazine, you can go to the link in my bio, click it, Give It to the People magazine. It's free, but if you want to drop a little donation in the plate, you can do that. But it's free for you to get. It's also, if you go to ladybusiness.com, I put it right there on the front just to make sure it was there too. So you can go ahead and you can get that. And then you can see Shamina's article in there. She's got some beautiful pictures. And so, you know, I got to talk about the pictures. I told you we were going to do that. I loved your pictures. Like, I just love it when you can tell that a person was intentional about giving you a feel, you know, giving you a look. And we got the professional looks. We got the different hairdos. We got the colors with the outfits. Oh, thank you. Like, I have to say that because do you know, like, how everybody does not have that together, but I appreciate that, Queen. I appreciate that all day. Top knot, everything. Appreciate it. Hoop earrings. Give me everything. I appreciate that because people seem to not sometimes, and in this day of visual imaging, sometimes they just don't care about the image and the look. And you care because you can see it in your pictures.
I care, but I struggle with fashion. Like, I'm a plain Jane. Most of the covered up, not showing my sexy, but I'm sexy when I'm covered up. But Nicole Danielle, she was on here. I don't know if she got off. She's the one
that was typed in.
She's the one who actually took the photos.
Okay.
And I had this blazer on. I think the blazer is in one of the pictures, but the shirt that I had on, and one of them is probably like 15 years old, literally. But I do like color, and I do play with color, but I give Nicole all the props because I don't consider myself photogenic. I don't know my angles. I don't sit and practice in the mirror. And if you know, like on my personal page, if I do selfies, it's the same angle, same selfie all the time whenever I do it. But I give all the props to Nicole Whitman. Her handle is Nicole Danielle Photography, but I give her all the props.
Well, she does a great job, you know what I'm saying? Because it just feels like comfortable. Like that's the only thing that I can, when I come and I look at the pictures, I'm like, oh, okay, that's just looks comfortable. It looks like, let me talk to you. Like you can be my friend. Like that's how I feel like the pictures look. It looks like, hey, let's talk to her. Let's see what she's got going on today. That's how it makes me feel, right? Okay. So now let me ask you this. If you are going to give advice to anybody right now that might be struggling with any type of trauma, and they want to make a decision to just do something out of the box, something out of the norm, and they could go somewhere. And let's just say, I mean, I know we got people all over, but let's just say it's in the US. They could go do an activity that would kind of jump out. What would be your top 3 things that you would tell a person to do to get uncomfortable, like places to go or something to do to get uncomfortable? What would you do?
My first thing is to go to one of your local museums.
Oh, okay.
Museums always center me. They always provide a different scenery. So first thing is a museum. Second, get out and go for a walk and look up at the sky. There's nothing better than fresh air and looking upward instead of down and around at everything that's going on around you and within you. There's something about being out in fresh air. I don't care. Get outside and look up. And the third place, I would say, again, I love food. So for me, it'd be go to your favorite ice cream parlor, or you could go get you a nice dessert. Yeah, go get you something to eat.
Okay. So you know that I love those answers, okay? I do. I swear I love to cook. I love to go get a good meal. I do. That's one of my happy places is cooking, eating, those things, because I think that we are, even if we want to go back to that emotional tide, we are emotionally tied to smells and sounds. So the next question is the sounds. When you need a boost, okay, because I'm not feeling great. What would be your boost playlist? Like, what would you put? And you could say top 3. What would be your boost playlist that you need to hear to get you out of the funk?
Playlist? I don't know. Song. My first problem.
Okay.
My theme song for life, Just Fine by Mary J. Blige.
Cut this interview off. Cut it off. Come on. You know I love a MJB. Come on now.
But
yes.
That's fine. I'm fine. I don't care what it look like, what it feel like. I know I'm fine. I'm going to be fine. I play that joint. I'm going to dance. I'm going to move, and we going to be all right. We going to be all right.
Yes.
But I don't have a playlist. Who else?
It's got to be something. So after Mary goes on, after Just Fine, right? After she all of that, right? What's the next song? It's got to be another song.
I'm probably going to put my Freakum Dress On by Beyonce.
Okay. All right. Yes.
And then, I don't know. I have to go old school. My father, any James Brown would probably get me.
Yeah, no, James got all the songs, you know what I'm saying? And James is definitely one of those pioneers. And that's definitely, yeah, James, I can see it because he puts you in all the moods, right? You know, and then James definitely had a confidence about him. So I can see how he could pull you out of a mood. So I love that. Okay. Now, if you are concentrating and you're sitting there, you need to write. What do you listen to music? What do you do to get into your mood to be able to write?
Oh, a lot of times it's music. When I'm writing, I'm either sitting with a bunch of books and probably playing jazz music.
Okay.
But then I've been on that Hotels by Jasmine Sullivan. She been getting me in my mood. I play her and might play her on repeat because I'm working on my next. I'll go ahead and drop the title. Got a new project coming out.
Okay, we need groundbreaking news.
Yep.
Get drop it. I'm ready now. I gotta get close. Like this is not gonna help me hear you better, but you know, Black people, we gotta get close so that we can hear better. So here, let me what's next?
Everything But the Kitchen Sink, and it's dating chronicles of a serial dater and hopeful romantic. So this is going to be poetry. It's going to be my dating chronicles over the years. A lot of funny, little dark, but lately I've been listening to a lot of Jasmine Sullivan and rocking out like.
Okay, now I gotta prophesy. Hold on, I feel it. The Lord done sent it to me. Let me tell you what's gonna happen. I feel like that's a stage play. I don't know if it's a one woman or something, but I feel it. Like I feel when you said that title, I feel like God gonna bless you with a stage play. Like you're gonna be the next Tyler Perry with that or something.
So that's
because I feel it.
That's funny. With my first book, In the Midst of Me, I thought about or still think.
Yes.
Having that as a one-woman play. But yeah, so I received it. I definitely
yes. Because you know what? Let me tell you something. This is the way my God works. He just send me messages. He be like, like I get the messages and they just come through. Right now they coming through this Congolese, they coming right through here. Word. So the message came through here and it was like, say that, right? Drop the message. But I feel like it is so much more opportunity now for us to create the things that may have needed permission and space and more money before than ever, right? So I feel like that one woman thing, you could shoot that right there at the house, honey. You know what I'm saying? This right here is my new backdrop. She just out here just chilling, okay? I just made room for her. She's here, she's chilling because I just wanted the yellow background, okay? So I feel like there are a lot of things that maybe you would have went other directions before the vid came in, before Corona and them. But now you could just do that and you could be at home and you could create something that's really great. And this is the thing about the time that we live in right now. Just like you said, I wasn't happy with the inside of my book and I wanted to redo that. You can do one thing and it doesn't have to be perfect. And then you can go back and then you can change it. And that's the power that we have now, is to be able to be on platforms like this and put our content out and somebody's going to feel it. You know what I'm saying? So just as an example, I was resistant to TikTok all of this time. I put out a video on TikTok last week. Why does the video on TikTok have over 65,000 views? Now, I have never gotten that much on one thing. And I just said, I kept looking at the numbers going up and I showed my husband, I was like, look at this. And he was like, what? I said, look at the numbers. And he was like, what? And I'm just like, yes. And it was a video that I just did that I would have done anywhere and I put it there and it's just gotten so many. And I'm just like, wow, that wasn't even like the goal. I mean, I'm not trying to say that wasn't the goal, but it was just putting out what was real to me and what I wanted to put out into the world. And I really, truly feel like, that was just for me to say to you, do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to have all of the bells and whistles in order to make it happen. you could do that. Now, if you need other people to be a part of it and stuff, then that may be different. But just like how, remember they did vagina monologues?
Yeah.
It was just multiple women coming out there talking about their song. Hotels is one or a couple of women talking about their life. I think you could do that. And I think that would be a powerful message to people. So I don't know. Y'all agree? I mean, I see some people up here. I see hearts and stuff like that. So they must agree with me. I see it. I see it.
All right. I see it and I hear you and I receive it for sure.
There you go. Because I mean, it's so many ways to do things now and make money. And I literally wake up, go to sleep, think about it during the day. How else can I make money? What else can I do? Like, I'm serious. And I'm just like, who would like to pay me today? Somebody would like to give me some money. Who would like to give me a check? Like, I think about that all the time, you know, and you know what happens? And so this is where that positivity and that law of attraction. If I am constantly saying, well, who's going to pay me? Somebody's going to pay me. Guess what happens? Somebody sends an email and wants to pay me and they want to spend money. So in us, you know, getting over anxiety and through stuff, we have to say the things that we want to see in our life.
Absolutely. And I have been saying, even with my website, I did my own website. Haven't updated it, need to update it. But everybody's like, oh, your website when I finally launched. And I'm like, yeah, I did it. It was painful, but you can do it. You know, always, and you can always perfect it later. Just get the thing out. Get it out. So I'm gonna work on that. I appreciate you.
Just do it. I'm just saying, because you know what happens? We keep putting it in and holding on to it, and nobody can see it. So years ago, like 10 years ago, when I first started saying show up and show out before everybody was doing it, my thing has always been, I don't know who I'm going to meet, but there's going to be somebody in the room that I'm going to meet that is going to further whatever. I'm going to either stay late, come early, you know, pay attention, whatever, help out, volunteer, whatever it is that I have to do, because it's going to get me somewhere else. So just showing up now is different, right?
Right.
Showing up for yourself has got to be the most important thing that we can do on a daily basis. That's just how I see it.
It has to be. Because if you don't show up for yourself, you can't show up for anybody else. You just can't. And we definitely can't show up depleted. So you also got to make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yes.
Absolutely. The first person, your first priority is yourself, for sure.
Yes. Now we have a comment that says there are photographers and videographers that can do virtual content. You see, listen, once you put it out, the world just is, the universe. It is saying, oh, that's what you want? Let me go on ahead and put this together for you, right? So there may be somebody that wants to reach out to you because they love this interview. They need help. They want to become a client, or they may want to provide your thing so that you can do stuff virtually. We don't know what God has got for us, but we know he got something going on good all the time. So tell them how they can find you.
Find me at Lifelines ProServe LLC on Instagram. I'm on Lifelines at Facebook. Lifelines Twitter. What's my Twitter? Because they're all not the same. They should be, but they aren't.
But they can get to it from your Instagram account.
Get to everything from my Instagram.
Okay. Yes. And tell them the website just one more time.
LifelinesProServe.com.
Okay. And your service, SE?
Oh, no. Jesus, help me. It's just lifelines.com.
Okay. Lifelines.com is the website. Okay. So this way you can get there to the website. You can find out all of the goodies if you want to become a client. Now, do you have classes coming up or one-on-one sessions? What's coming up for you?
I'm still offering one-on-one sessions this May. I'm filling out for my first group sessions. So I'll be putting more information out on that soon.
Okay.
But I'm always doing one-on-one sessions, always. So if you're interested, please click the link in my bio at Lifelines ProServe LLC on my Instagram handle, and it'll take you right to the contact form. You submit that, and we can get to work.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for being a guest tonight, being a contributor for Give It to the People music magazine. Okay, I guess we're gonna have music now too. I don't know. That just slipped out. So okay, maybe I don't know what's happening. But because I think that it is a wonderful thing for us to be able to collaborate and just to share the goodness that happens with people. So I appreciate your contribution. And anybody, if you need that look, that Give It to the People feel, the Give It to the People experience, because you see I had to put my hands together. Give It to the People experience is on May 1st. Okay. Now I'm gonna tell you now, we don't do cheap. It's $300, but it includes your photos, it includes your makeup, it includes your food. We're gonna have a mixology class there, affirmations, because Real Ass Affirmations is my podcast. So it's gonna be a wonderful day for you to explore and get that confidence that you need for your brand. So anybody that wants to come, it's women only. We're gonna have wonderful women that, you know, when you need, if you come by yourself, you're gonna leave with a friend, because we don't bring no foolishness around here. This is not the competition. This is not the everybody's in their phone every second. This is conversation. This is what you've been missing because of the fact that you've been in the house. And so if you need to get out May 1st, and you can go right to the link in my bio and you can check and you can register for that. And then definitely check out the magazine at the link in the bio as well. Now, Shamina, thank you so much. Okay. And everybody, thank you for watching. If you watch on the replay, then definitely make sure that you follow her, follow me, do all of the good things that you can do, share it with somebody else, and always show up and show out and continue to give it to the people. Good night, guys.
Right to heal, good people.
There we go.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Give It to the People Radio. Make sure that you follow us online at ladybusiness.com, LadyBizness. We look forward to helping you grow, sustain, and maintain your business.